All right.
We are recording.
Thank you, Beth. And now I'm happy to introduce Suzanne Rancourt, who was a featured reader for Straw Dog Writers Night Out back in February this year, I believe. Suzanne is a multimodal expressive arts therapist of Abenaki Huron descent. She's published 2 books, Billboard in the Clouds, which received the Native Writers Circle of the Americas First Book Award, and also Murmurs of the Gate, which was published last year. And she has a 3rd book, Old Stones, New Roads, forthcoming in the spring. Suzanne's writing has appeared in dozens of journals and anthologies, including the Brooklyn Review and the Northern New England Review. She is a veteran of the US Marine Corps. She also has a master's in psychology from SUNY Albany and an MFA in writing from the Vermont College of Fine Arts. She's also an affiliate workshop leader of the Amherst Writers and Artists. And Suzanne, if you get a chance, you could put the links to your website and books in the chat, and so people can find them there. And it's now my pleasure to present to you Suzanne Rancourt. So over to you, Suzanne.
All right, let me get this website link there, because when we close out, whatever's in the chat goes away. So I'll put it there. Expressive Arts, expressive-arts.com. And if you go to the artist page on the website, then all the links for the books will be found there, and more information than perhaps you'd care to know, but it's all right there. So let's begin by just standing. If you are not able to stand safely, then make sure that you are sitting on the edge of your chair with your feet square underneath you. If, however, you can stand, then I invite you to do that so that we can get the oxygen that's stuck in our butts up to our brains, and we can breathe and think and have a little more nourishment cerebrally. Okay, so, all right. And all I would like you to do is to have your feet no wider than your shoulder, between your hips and shoulder width. And you can put your hands here on the back. You can do that, Laurie. That's quite fine. What is important is that your body is comfortable and you're naturally shifting from side to side. We're not hurting the body. Instead, we're just feeling our feet and how the feet are connecting to the earth. Then you can swing your body to the front and you can swing your butt to the back, kind of like when we used to do hula hooping. I think everyone here understands hula hooping. And I just want to gently open up the chest. And then gently bring your hands down to center. Let's do this again. And open up the chest, and then again exhale here. If you can raise your arms all the way up, listen to your shoulders, then do that. And push through the ceiling of your room. Let your feet push through the floor into the earth, so that you can feel extension. Oh, the organs are so happy. They're loving you because all that weight of your rib cage is letting them move about and breathe and get circulation. And now just drop your arms. Just relax and just take a look and move. All right. And this is what I call arriving. Find a movement that allows you to arrive. And you're just arriving, okay? And welcome. And so bring yourself back to your chair, and let's take a look as we begin. Okay. I welcome comments. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to simply share a screen, which I'm going to do. Here we go. It's a little scary, but oops, screen share. I wonder if that can be done. Nope, disabled. All right, so I'm just going to read. Don't worry about it, Beth. I'm just going to read the practices. The AWA workshop method is not psychotherapy. And again, I apologize if this information is redundant. It's just that, well, never assume, correct? Never assume. And I just want to make sure that we're all feeling safe with where we are and what we're doing. We're not interpreting any of the work that we're going to write here today or anything of the installation that we're using today. So we're not conducting psychotherapy. The workshop is a non-hierarchical approach, and that means that even though we're not in a circle, I'd like you to feel circle. I want you to just press your hands out to your sides. We can remember what touch feels like. We can remember what that's like to sit in a circle with others around the table and write. And I would like us all to just center in on that we're in this circle because we are all artists and we are all equal to this. We are creating something here today. We are a collective. The workshop, we never assume that the writer and the narrator are one in the same. Even if I said, oh, that's a true story, when you're listening to what is being read or presented, we always want to naturally begin to create a distance between the writer and the narrator. It's a way for us to begin to step back and create space to observe, to hear, to listen, to be in relationship, but in a different way. And isn't that what the pandemic is doing now? Isn't that what Zoom is doing right now? We are still in relationship, but in a different way. And so never assume that the writer and the narrator are one in the same. This is a strengths-based approach. And so I want to focus on what works. This is also an expressive arts therapy way. We want to focus on what we actually see, hear, what sticks in the head. And this is a blending place of expressive arts therapy and the AWA method. Okay, we want to create or recreate that which is working. And so what sticks in the head? And so even as I'm talking right now, I'm hoping that you have a pen, paper. What sticks in your head? And you write down just the word, not what you perceive, not what you think, just the word that might pop into your head. Now, I might use some colloquial language, so I'm asking for your forgiveness already, all right? Because the intention is not to offend. But if the word comes into your head like, that is a crazy bitch, then you can write that down. It's perfectly okay. That's what came into your head. So you write it down. We don't stay stuck on it, and we keep moving, and we keep moving. What sticks in your head? We will have a moment where we will read back the work, but no one is ever forced. I'm hoping that we'll all feel safe to do that. Work in this way when we're writing, because that's the modality that we're using here today. We never know what emerges, and that's the beauty. The surprise is the beauty. But there are times when that which comes up from the depths of, the hidden file folders, that we've stuffed away way back in some operating system that's been quarantined way away from us, all of a sudden You know, we can be writing and things come up. And so it's okay. Sometimes that information is so new to us as an artist that we're not really ready to share it. And that's okay. And it's okay. And this is why we don't interpret anything. We create that natural distance between writer and narrator in our written work. The distance between a writer and the characters that we want to create and develop in our work. One of the other things that we do, which I know that you already know, but never assume, so I just want to touch base on this again, is that when someone is reading, our role is the witness. That's where the witnessing comes in. When someone is reading, what we're really doing is we are witnessing that narrator. We're witnessing the creation of that writer, that artist. And this is significant, to hold that space and to hold that silence. And we're in a day and age right now where we have to really practice holding that silence sometimes. And so that's what we're going to do. So we listen to that writer who is reading, and then in a respectful manner, you see, we start this dance. The person who has read, the artist who has shared, now also listens to the echoes that come back, to the responses that come back. And those responses are focusing on what works. It can be just a word. That's all I'm asking. Maybe 2 words, maybe a phrase. Not what I think they meant, but just that sentence, just that phrase, or just that word. And you can take those notes and write that down. Thank you very much for giving permission to record. And again, as Beth had explained, if you're uncomfortable with being recorded, then she gave you the instructions on how to deal with that. However, confidentiality is something that I take very seriously. And so we don't share outside of our group, even if it's on Zoom. We keep this space sacred in this way. And Beth is our gatekeeper today to help us to make sure we all feel safe. And so that's wonderful. Normally in our AWA workshop, normally I write along with you. However, today, as you can see from the mystery, the black door, the mystery hole, the mystery space, you know, who knows where it goes. That is my second device that I will be using, and I will speak more about that at that time. Any questions at this point? Okay. Now, the other thing is some of you may feel like sleeping. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. And I've worked a lot with trauma survivors. So quite frankly, when somebody falls asleep in my presence, that's a compliment. That means that that person feels safe. And it means that that whatever my voice is doing, whatever my presence is doing, it's helping them to calm and center and to feel safe. So if you feel like sleeping, don't disconnect. Just stay right there. You're absorbing on some level. You're still a part of us. You're there. And so that's okay. So what I am going to ask of us today, just to get started so that we can just remember some of these practices, I'm going to ask of us, and I'm going to get my, I'll keep my timer down there. I'm going to ask of us to do a free write. And it can almost be, well, it can be anything you'd like. It can be a list poem. What drew you here today? Do you have expectations? No expectations. What drove you here today? Maybe you answer literally, a car or Zoom or what have you. Anything is okay. It's just going to be a 5-minute free write, and all I'm asking of you to do is to keep writing. No matter what word comes into your head, it's going to come out your pen or out your fingertips when you're typing. It's about connection. That's all. And whatever is here, it's about centering and coming out. Okay, and so let's begin. 5 minutes, please. Okay, I'm going to ask that you find a pause point. Bring yourself back to center. It's not about finishing a line. It's just finding a place to pause so that you can pick up if you choose later on. Okay, and just have everyone come back. All right. Are we all back? Okay. All right. And what I would like to ask of us so just kind of be in your body. Just set your hands down. Set your pen down for a minute. You can close your eyes, keep them open, whatever. You can cross them, whatever. What does that feel like? I want you to take note. And just write 3 words. 3 words that come into your head. Just 3 words. The other thing that I want to point out is that every single thing that I do, every sound I make, every sound being made, is a mnemonic. It activates something in us. I don't need a special device on this computer for you to smell that coffee. You already smell it. You may not like coffee. Your body had a response. Or maybe you do like coffee and say, oh, I can't drink it this late, or I wish I had some coffee. Okay? So everything that I do or say, if a thought pops into your head, write that word down. We don't have to know why in that moment the thought popped in our head. We don't have to explain it or justify it. It's just simply something that was triggered, perhaps, a response. So this is where what I'm doing here today moves out of that AWA method and is now into that expressive arts therapy method. Okay? And we're just taking note right now. There's a technical name for what we're doing. Some people refer to it as decentering. And sometimes that feels uncomfortable because we begin to remember things, okay? Or things get stimulated. That's the intention. And we're going to take note of that. And then we come back and we'll take a look at that. We'll harvest it. Okay? Is there anyone that feels comfortable to just read what you wrote? It does not have to make any sense. It's an initial writing. It's a free writing. And if you want to keep it to yourself, that's okay. You have that right to do that. So if anyone would like to go, just unmute yourself and let her rip. Yes, Carla. Yes. And then Michael.
I came today because Straw Dog Writers Guild workshops are always good, and I always learn new things and meet interesting people, as well as connect with people I already know. For example, today I see a former Ada Comstock Scholar classmate, a writing group member, some familiar poets and friends, and some new to me folks. I find inspiration, ideas, practice in sessions such as this one. I used to do this in person, and now with the pandemic, I can still feel safe, yet be able to participate without having to go anywhere. These kinds of workshops help me with my writing practice as well, stretching the edges of my envelope of comfort. Taking risks with new craft ideas is always an adventure. Every new person's techniques become rolled into the melange of how I conduct my writing groups and how I participate in others.
Please write down one word that sticks in your head from Carla's reading. Michael, would you like to go next?
Sure.
Thank you.
I had a headache, but I can't feel it anymore. When I lifted my arms up, I felt it, but now it's gone, and I don't think I'll try to bring it back. I'm sitting and sitting, the only man in this room, among friends, acquaintances, and strangers. Normally, I'm shy, but I can force myself to reach out, ask a question, because sometimes it works, and I forget my shyness, like a headache maybe, which I so rarely get. But then just today, for no particular reason, I'm sitting and sitting comfortably, doing just what I want to do, ready to be surprised, open to the next moment. I'm not thinking about the pizza I'll make afterwards, as I already cut up the veggies and took out the yeast. Everything is ready and waiting for me. So I can just be here, relax my neck and shoulders, let the time take on a life of its own.
Okay. Thank you. Write down one word that sticks in your head from Michael. And who would like to go next? Yes, Maddie, please. Thank you.
If it's free, if it's about writing poems, stories, music, prayer, meditation, breathing, dreaming, Jewish, Buddhist, Sufi, living in a happy way, being a better person, writer, poet, if it comes to me from someone I know now or knew once or heard of somewhere, someone I saw someplace before, I jump onto my computer and open the portal to see what's there, what they have to tell me or show me or bring up in my mind or pull out of my inner world, because I'm open to what comes my way, down the path to my doorstep, over the airways of my telephone, through the energy of my dreams or the screen on my computer, open, willing to consider, willing to listen, to respond, not searching anymore, just open, not expecting or longing or hoping, just open, not judging, not evaluating, not critiquing, just open. At least that's what I aim to be.
Okay. Have you recognized a pattern? If you could just write down one word that sticks in your head from Maddie's piece. You might notice that I'm doing a gesture. It's not a planned gesture. It's just that there's something about our group in this moment that when a person finishes reading, I just feel like doing this and then just holding that presence and then exhaling. So I welcome you, if you feel called to do a gesture after each reading, I welcome you to do that and just be in your body. See what for a moment. Who else would like to go? Who else do we have here? Okay. Greetings, ladies. Would any of you ladies like to?
I'll go.
Thank you, Faith.
On the verge of snow, raindrops thicker, droplets than usual, more opaque. The yard has no accumulation, yet in the outskirts of town where the hills rise, the snow has painted treetops white. I'm not ready for winter chores, for shoveling the walk, for brushing off the car. I'm not in control and must simply react to the action of weather. The time of cold and isolation may be more intense in one way this year, though relieved by the many interactions on Zoom.
Thank you. Okay. Write down the word that stuck in your head from Faith's reading. Anyone else? Would you like to read? Okay. All right. I'm more than happy to read, but I would love to hear your voices as well. But there's no wrong way. So
I'll read Suzanne, although it's a little unfocused and long, I'll just say, comparatively here, but here we go. This is Carol.
yes.
Seeking a connection in the Native American community and creativity, resparking my writing in a way that is centered upon what is true and real for me today. Turning inward to be able to listen and be focused on the emerging truth that is seeking to be revealed in my life. reconnecting with my roots in this familiar yet foreign land of Massachusetts, wondering where my native connection is to this place, opening to new possibilities and modalities of writing, enhancing my knowledge of art. Playing in this season of emerging Advent and preparing for the new year and new life to come. Walking amidst home cleaning, laundry, process folding, and preparing for the new week beginning tomorrow, Sunday, the day of the Spirit. Artists as writers, participant, protagonist, antagonist, observer, co-creator, center holder, circle of life, walking towards sunrise of awareness amidst the uncertainty of the waning light. Writer as artist, pen, pencil, keyboard in hand, iPad, cell phone discarded to the sensual feel of paper against skin, ink on page, pencil notes and margins, drawing forth from the creative center that's seeking to be revealed, known, understood, explained, and danced with anew from the edges of the line, guiding the eye and hand forth from the great abyss of knowing unknowingness. Eagle flies high, circling the same spot, then moving on to another, with expansive wings and eyes, viewing the depth of the water and the expanse of the horizon in the seconds of breathing, in the sound of a loud beating heart, awaiting awakening to the new dawn. Eagles dance in the sky as the eagle nebulae overlooks the universe, unfolding in the sparkle of the human heart before the awareness of naming within the human mind. Eagle's wings. The air is thin up here, and the sound of the wind enormous and reassuring, the way a waterfall is as it surrenders from heights beyond our knowing, whispering to the rocks and the trees it rushes by on the way to new ground, solid in its longing for the journey.
Two words, two words. Thank you. Anyone else? There's no wrong. We're practicing. It's not easy to be a witness for someone. It's not easy to have someone witness our art, our emotion, because as artists, we are empaths. And when we share our work, we're putting our soul out there, you know. And so it takes practice and it takes courage, it does. So if anyone would like to go, please unmute yourself, pop in. Okay, yes.
Sure, I'll read a bit. Life takes the shape of what contains it. This time is a container for me to write what is sufficient to fill someone else's cup when they are thirsty for imagination. My stories are a bowl full of nourishment for people piecing together their past. My stories drip through the roof of a slapdash house of trauma, telling the untellable and letting forgiveness and the fullness of history in.
Thank you. Thank you. In one word. Are you feeling it, Sally? I don't want to put you on the spot, okay? I want to respect that. Okay,
I'll read.
thank you.
I'm still in the story I was writing when this began. He's a 47-year-old man. He weighs 43 pounds. He has severe scoliosis, lordosis, kyphosis. His height, I'm trying to read my own writing. His height, if he could uncurl his spine into a straight line, if he could stand, his height would be 3 feet, 4.5 inches. He lies on a bean bag on a 10-foot therapy table in the day hall in a residential housing where he lives. His back is supported on the bean bag and a wedge is positioned on top of the bag. A pillow props his head. His feet stick out beyond the end of the bean bag. His buddy Glenn is positioned in much the same position in a much bigger bean bag angled near him. Glenn has fallen asleep with a hand on Billy's foot. Billy usually likes the weight of Glenn's hand on his foot during rest time, but now nothing feels quite right. Billy blinks and the day hall gets bigger. He blinks again and the room gets small. His vision is blurry all the time. Now it's blurrier than normal. The room dancing around like a jumping bean as he blinks. Billy stares. He hasn't felt this flavor of fear in over a decade. He doesn't remember what's coming, but he knows it's bad.
Thank you. And one word that sticks in your head. Okay. Who has not gone that feels called to share or has something to share at this time? I want to make sure that I don't leave anyone out that wants to share. Are you feeling it, Ella?
Hi, my cat continues to jump on my lap and get in the way of my writing. I'm trying to shoo him off and he keeps jumping up. So
They mean well.
it's annoying.
It's
I don't
okay.
know, see his ears right there.
Yeah.
He's huge, so. I came for Suzanne and don't know what to expect. I know she's a good teacher as I remember February's event in Asheville fondly. I'm anxious about tonight's poetry reading and this workshop should help. I do believe my art will continue. I need to write every day and haven't made the time for it because of these holidays are coming up, like family holidays, and they're weighing on me. And then, because it's my birthday and my sister, who's a twin, isn't going to celebrate turning 50 with me. It's feeling heavy on me. So I'm not decorating. I'm not excited for Christmas or kids can't come home. So I'm all consumed with that and not creating art. But I do have a poetry reading. So I'm all over the place. And then the cat is, he's right there. So I'm happy to be here and to see everyone. Thank you.
Let's all hold that. Let's all be witness and hold that. And breathe that out. Let that be centering and calming. Thank you. And what was the word? What was the word from Ella that sticks in your head? Okay. All right. Anyone else? I see there's Kathy, San Antonio. Are you there?
Hi there. I am, gosh, I'm terribly embarrassed because I signed up for this and was so looking forward to it. And I went to sign in on Wednesday and was told, oh, this is happening on December 5th. And then I went to sign in yesterday and was told, no, this is happening on December 5th. And then I completely forgot about it today. And so I just joined a few minutes ago, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stay. And so my deep apologies for being so flaky about this. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure I'm going to have to spend some time examining my motivations and my avoidance. But thank you for asking me, and thank you for offering. Like I said, I'm sorry that I can't stay on, but this looks like a really wonderful group, and I would love to be able to join again. Just this time, unfortunately, won't work out for me. Thank you, though.
Well, thank you. And let's just hold that space, because Kathy has still spoken and we're still able to witness her presence. And write down a word, because Kathy, you still contributed. You still showed up. You were still present. You still offered. You still gave.
Mm.
Okay. So
Thank you.
write down a word. Okay. So it's not what you expected as far as how to be present, but that doesn't mean you're not present. It doesn't mean you're not part of the community. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Who hasn't read yet?
I will read. Kathy Roth. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All right. Kathy with a C.
Kathy with a C. What drove me here today? Patricia's
Thank you.
patchwork retreat. Missing the closeness, missing writing closeness with self as writer, as having something that wants to be written. The enjoyment of writing, feeling engaged, more area of my whole self involved and working, not sleeping through life. Vinny, still things to say. The dream, nightmare, the black death of the 1-2 punch. Not remembering it exactly. Oh yes, one and done punch. After Vinny died, before, I can't remember. Next page. Cancer, COVID, death, I can't remember.
Thank you, Kathy. Run one word that sticks in your head from Kathy Roth. I think that is, all right, let's see. Okay, I think I'm the only one that hasn't read, and I will read this time on this particular exercise, because it's a way of connecting us and learning and being witness for each other. And okay. We are here in this new beginning, a fairy net, a fairy circle of electrons sparking across ether cables, glass snakes across hot sand, Scirocco's zinging into videos and sound. The circle is light in a way that splits atoms, shadows, nebula, ignorance, and attitudes. Electrifies information, and we touch each other. in this spirit, a way that supersedes forms. Echo. I say echo, echo, echo. What goes around comes around. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. And write on your list one word that sticks in your head. Okay. And so now that list that we just wrote, that in itself can be a found poem. And we're not going to spend time on that because we have an hour and a half, so we've got 30 more minutes. And I have an installation that we're going to explore from different angles. And while I'm showing you these different angles, give yourselves permission to just literally write down what you see. Now, each item, like my coffee, is a mnemonic. I just feel happy that I can pronounce that word now. It only took me 30 years, but don't ask me to spell it. It's a memory trigger. Okay? It creates an object or a picture is concrete, and it creates a memory, and it creates a picture. And to every picture is attached an emotion. Okay? And we're learning about how to literally see from different perspectives. And this exercise that we're doing here, I encourage you to do in your writing when you're developing characters. When you're trying to understand a particular, why does a character do a particular thing? How do they do that thing? And so we can physically do that. We can get up and move around. So I am going to walk around this installation, and whatever catches your eye, because we have to rely on our visual sense, whatever catches your eye, you can write it down either as a list, like what we just did, with words that stuck in our head, okay? Or you can write down a sentence or a string of cohesive words, so that later on you can go back in and dive below the surface of that word or that line. Okay? This is a way to take notes. So we're going to do something here. Okay. Because I've hidden the installation. So for a moment, I'm just going to shut off. I'm going to stop my video, but I'm going to keep my audio. And I'm going to do this so that what you are seeing is only going to be from this device. Okay. I'm going to go very slow as possible so that you don't get vertigo. And begin to take your notes. Okay. Try to find your pause point. Taking notes. What's stuck in your head? Find a way to come back and back to center. Find a way to use those words to come back into the circle. Okay, wonderful. And when you're back, just sort of say, I'm ready. You know, unmute yourself and just let me hear you say, I'm back. I'm ready. I'm here.
Kathy Roth is ready.
Sally's ready.
Thank you.
Faith is ready.
Thank you.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
I'm back.
Miss Danget is ready.
Thank you.
Carol's back, present.
Ready.
Thank you. Yeah. And we're all back. Okay. Without taking notes, this is the place where I'd like us to just share a little bit what you felt, you know, just what you felt with what you were seeing. Go for it.
I felt like it was all my meme stuff you had on the table.
Meme.
Yeah,
I'm a meme.
I'm
My-
a meme too.
My mother was a meme.
Yeah,
Power to the memes.
yeah, power to the memes, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else?
Things of heritage, like the Native American pendant with turquoise and baked bean pots.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Just shout it out. Okay.
It had a mystical aspect to it, the combination, and I was really appreciating the patterns and the way everything was so carefully laid out, as well as the very slow presentation with the video, moving around it near, far, seeing the whole thing, seeing bits of it. It was really very neat.
Thank you. You know, I encourage people to come off mute and so that we can feel this electronic conversation happening. Okay. And I'm okay with it, having it pop back and forth. We'll make sure that we are witnessing. Okay. How about
I
anybody?
was happy to,
Yes.
yeah. I'm happy to see the flame as the one thing in the installation that was alive. That wasn't still. It was light because of the flame.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. And I said, it looks like the table is set in a kitchen. The chairs look comfy, like many conversations were said in that spot.
Yes.
Me, the objects felt kind of unfamiliar, and I felt this like remembering when I used to go to different places and a longing to be in somebody's house other than my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks,
I
Beth.
noticed the snake. I noticed the snake first, and it took me a while to move off of that because it was so intriguing. But when I did, and I took in all the other pieces and was sort of just looking at them, and then I noticed the braided hot pot holder. What that was that everything was sitting on. That was so beautiful, and I was sort of mesmerized by that for a while. And then I was able to sort of, like, again, after looking at everything individually, just sort of take it all in as a whole, which was really nice and different for me. So that was nice.
Thank you. How did you all enjoy the change of levels? Okay, because again, this is about how can we stimulate ourselves as writers? How can we develop a different perspective? In writing, it's called character development. But how just changing position, how did that change what you were seeing?
Some of it was in the reflections. I saw a figure 8 of white light on top of the bean pot, and it would change and shift, and the liquidity of the wax in the candle was shimmering.
Wow.
And I really liked that, you know, going in and coming out and going around. That was very lovely.
Good. Anybody else? What kind of insight? Yes.
The pace made it slowing down. Just slowing down and looking is not something that I normally do.
Ah.
So just seeing this beautiful tableau, just from all of these different angles, the different perspectives, like you're saying, was very, you know, I think I probably started to breathe more slowly. And I was just writing words. So I have like 60 words.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That seem like it's material for something.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Pick up on what Carla said about the slowness.
Yes.
A prompt to help different items related to each other in different, instead of just seeing the item by the different, like it's how they were interacting.
Michael, your bandwidth is low. If you could put some of that in the chat, then we could see it because we didn't hear it all.
Okay.
Thank you. Who has not yet contributed? Miss Smith, please tell me the correct pronunciation of your first name, please.
My first name is Mistanget.
Mistanget.
That's a cool name.
And I had the experience of writing, okay, that's all I got. And then when the perspective changed, I discovered that actually that wasn't all I got.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Et voila. There you go. There's the workshop. And it can be that simple, right? Isn't that amazing? Go ahead, Kathy. Whoops. Okay. So now this is just open. How might we use this? I mean, how can we bring this method to our everyday living? You know, as a writer, when I write something, because again, that's my primary modality, isn't our goal, one of our goals as an artist, to invoke change in whoever is witnessing that art? Shout it out. There's no wrong answer.
So I went on your website and read one of your poems, Suzanne, about the broken G string.
Yes.
It reminded
Bandwidth
of
is
what
low.
we just did and the new. Okay. All right. Too bad. I'm sorry.
But it's okay. Try again. Never give up.
You can also turn off your video. That might help with the sound.
Oh, thank you, Carla.
All right, I'll try it. So let me know if this works. So in the poem with the guitar, we're feeling, you know, with your words, I'm feeling the guitar, I'm feeling the fingers, I'm feeling the strings, I'm seeing the shape and the shadow and the inside and the outside, and the guitar is being passed, and you know there's music from the guitar. There's this, it was like multiple perspectives and relationships around this one item. And so I see the similarity to your writing and then what you just showed us.
Good, good. Because this is a tool. This is a tool that we can use when we're doing workshops with others, and of equal and greater importance is our own personal writing. So if we get stuck or feel like we're stuck, well, get up and move position. You know, stand on a step stool and look at something from above. You know, sit in a lower chair or get on the floor and look up. I think, politically speaking, we need politicians to do that. There, that should poke you. You know, when we look at something from a different cultural perspective, we are literally changing practice, changing perspective, change your physical relationship with that which you're looking at. And so, you know, look at something from a different cultural perspective is no different, absolutely no different than walking around the table, looking above, looking underneath, going close, coming back. It's a cinematic technique. It's
And probably by changing your perspective and your position in relation to whatever it is you're looking at, you're changing your brain.
Yes.
You're changing how you think about things. You're giving different signals to your brain through these different variety of positions instead of just one way.
Yes.
Speaking politically and otherwise.
Right? And so, but that's the beauty of it. Because now, and answer honestly, because I'm hoping that in this process, did anyone feel disrespected? Because if somebody did, I want to know. Sincerely, I want to know. But I also want to know if you all felt respected. And that's something. Because we witnessed each other. We listened to each other. And that is part of a council circle. That's why a circle for Indigenous people, for our way. You know, I have a circular table. I have a round table. I grew up with a round table. So we all sat around the table. And this changes how we think, how I think anyway. And so, any thoughts on that? Any response to that? My words.
For a little while, I felt like looking at the objects, there was something I was supposed to know. There was some pattern I was supposed to be seeing. Like the mystery of it was daunting. And then as it continued, there was enough time to realize this is an assemblage of articles and I don't have a responsibility to know what they mean.
Exactly.
But at the beginning, at first I was like, oh, there's some significance to this that I don't know. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't that take a lot of weight off you? You know, we don't have to know everything. Thank God. So Any more comments? Because it's 5:29, and I know that this goes, if I remember correctly, it's an hour and a half. And I know that we have movement afterwards. So any other responses?
I just thought about, related to Carla's comment, there are things that are legible to me and things that are not legible to me, and that's okay. And some of those things are legible to others, but not legible to me.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
But the fact that it was slow gave us time. So delivering whatever it was slowly gave us time to look at it. I worked before the pandemic, I worked in an art museum, and there's a lot of issues around people coming into art museums and not feeling connected with it because they're supposed to know. So that was, I guess, something I brought into this Zoom room with.
But isn't that great? You don't have to know.
Yeah.
Right?
I know that now, but I have studied for a long time, but I understand that still there are always people who are being exposed to whatever the art is, and they'd feel it doesn't relate to them at all, and they have trouble. So it helped me understand that also in that respect.
And it's how I apply this to my everyday life is I do my best that I don't have to understand every human being that I encounter. And there's some folks, some human beings that I've encountered that I'm grateful that I don't understand and I will never understand. That's a good thing sometimes. And for those that it is my nature that I want to do my best to understand. And this is a way for me to create distance, remember, between narrator and the writer. We never assume they're one and the same, but to create some distance and time, right? And to just, So I want to read the words that stuck in my head from people. And I encourage you then to take time and to read what you've written with different tones in your voice, from different perspectives, different emotional tension. Don't change the words, change the perspective. And that changes the meaning. So everything is art. Safety. Reach out. It's free. Connection solid. Nourishment uncurl. Continue motivations engaged. So I'm going to write those words down in the chat box, and you can take them if you'd like. And then we're going to just do a closing movement. So it's safety. Reach out. It's free. Opaque. I forgot the opaque. Connections. Solid. Nourishment. Uncurl. Continue. Motivations. Engaged. Okay. Now I would just like us to reach out. Reach out, reach your hands out. But now when you're reaching out, I want you to feel my fingertips. I want you to feel my fingertips. Feel my fingertips. We're reaching out. Feel my fingertips. Spooky, huh? And now just bring that back because we are connected. Wonderful. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time and connecting in this way and spending time with your words and the experience and the sensation and continuing to create work. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you,
Great
Suzanne.
experience.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
The,
Thanks,
record, the recording will be available. I'll also make available the chat log. Suzanne, thank you so much. That was just a wonderful experience for this rainy Saturday evening. Just beautiful.
All right. Thank you. Everyone be safe. And you will send out links so that we can get all of this.
It'll be available on the, a link will be available on the Straw Dog Writers Guild website that will take you to their the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see the video again if you want to
Wonderful.
go through it.
Good. All right. Thank you. Be well, everyone. Be safe and good luck, Ella.
Thank you.
Ella, what time is your poetry reading, and do you want to let us know how to access it?
It costs $10 to attend and then $25 for the chapbook and the attendance on Zoom. Nicole Young facilitated and she's the editor.
Okay, great. All right, great. Could we go to Facebook and find it?
It's called Locating Me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm the first reader, so I'm anxious, you know, but
You'll do it.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What a wonderful way to get ready for it.
Yes, thank you.
I'll be with you.
Thank you.
I'll be there.
All right. At the count of 3, folks, I'm going to end it.
Okay.
Thanks,
2,
Beth.
3.